gotta leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gon' stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
boys.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain. GM. Thanks so much for joining. If you haven't done so, do us a favor. Actually, you know what to do. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate y'all warming it up. You already front run the ask, so greatly appreciate that. GM to Katie, Absolute Zero, Risk Brian over in the YouTube streets. We've got Katie again over in Abstract Mesh, and Chris. Appreciate you all out there for the love and support and helping get this thing warmed up. If you've not yet found us on YouTube, head right over there, Coffee with Captain. Give us a subscribe and hit the newsletter while you're at it. It would be appreciated. We hit that out once a week. And love all our newsletter enjoyers. And if you are a enjoyer of things, whether it be XP in YouTube or Abstract, you're gonna want to hit those. But you don't have to. We like the Spaces numbers as well. You're welcome to hang out with us on Voice. You'll also find that X video chat linked up top as well. Man, interesting day. Might get a little spicy. I don't know yet. I thought yesterday summed up the Trove ICO / disclosure debate and move on. Markets crashing, not the most fun topic to talk about. Down fear and greed. Looks like a red candle as well. I'll flash that real quick for those of you watching in the video feed. We're down to 32. So just as we last week had climbed up to nearly pre-1010 fear and greed levels, quickly erase that with the market sell off and fear once again dipping. I'd love to say historically it's been accurate. As of late, I guess the dips, if you bought the fear and greed dips, at least when we hit extreme fear, you've done well. You did need to sell the tops to do really well. The last dip didn't really. First time we haven't seen that I can remember, didn't seem at least some sort of climb. It's really just been chopped since the last dip, despite fear and greed recovering. But nevertheless, we ride. I said I trying to get this co-host thing to work. It's messing with my brain. I don't know why it's been. I have no idea what's going on with it actually. So we're just gonna leave it at speaker. It doesn't want to cooperate. I know Outer said she figured out a hack, but I can't get that to work either. So we're just gonna leave the account set up there in speaker mode, and you all can figure out it is affiliated with the show. It is. So that said, I'm going to crowdsource title this morning. Title for we've got over in YouTube and Abstract. We've got markets crash, fear grows, and crime is supported. Mesh says legendary title. Maybe I just go with that. If anyone else has any other suggestions, because I'm attempting to filter myself. I'm attempting to not say something that'll be taken out of context, not say something that'll be clipped and end up getting an individual or an agency upset with me. In particular, an agency that I work with, and their one of their clients is, while they weren't involved in this Trove situation, it's one of their probably their largest client from a KOL standpoint, and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, not trying to go there. However, I think part of where my brain heart goes is I pride myself on being authentic and raw, and what you see is what you get. I don't share everything. Sometimes things I'm prohibited from sharing due to NDAs and whatnot. I also do my best to speak my truth, and the conversation obviously continued after our show today. A lot of talk about it, and I feel I would be somewhat disingenuous if I didn't follow up on the conversation, if I didn't make it more clear that it's disappointing. Like, we need to be better as a space. And I saw there's two sides. There's a few posts. I'll show both sides of it. But what really I think upset me the most, like genuinely upset me, is several accounts defending the actions of individuals who broke the law. Like, people can make mistakes. It's fine. We don't need to defend mistakes. Move on. Like, accountability is good. And it's gaslighting to not only defend the mistakes, but then flip it on people like, oh, it's your fault because you aped into this ICO without knowing your research. Okay. Why do we have to make it about the ICO participants instead of the scammers that, like, yesterday was like, this appears to be a rug. It's a rug. Like, these people have stolen money. They're ICO was oversubscribed. They didn't do what they said they're going to do. They're now stealing money. I don't know exactly where they live, but they've been doxxed now. And as I said yesterday, like, people have been murdered for less. I don't wish this on anyone. I'd rather see them in a cage than in a suitcase in a desert somewhere, or at least face fines and penalties. Like, they're wrongdoers. Like, the Trove team, how they went about this thing, like, as more and more information's come out, as other KOLs have disclosed, their DMs and whatnot, crime. Like, what they did was illegal in most regions. I don't know where they live, but if not illegal by law, certainly a lack of ethics, morals, and doing wrong by the space. Did some KOLs get duped and were blinded by money? Probably. It happens. That's okay. Like, I don't hold that against anyone. Like, mistakes happen. Should they all disclose that they're getting paid to do it? Yes. They didn't. Is that a mistake? Can they move on? Can they be forgiven? Yes. But to give Trove and KOLs who promoted Trove unpaid promotions that were undisclosed, to give them not only give them a pass, but to try to flip that and claim that others are being hypocritical or it's their fault if they bought this to, man, that's what's wrong with this space. It feels gross. It is almost by definition gaslighting. It's like, what are we doing here? Why? Why continue to, and as I said yesterday, like this sort of activity in 21-22 would not have gotten a free pass. People who did far less in terms of disclosures were grilled on the timeline. And they definitely didn't blame the NFT mentors. Like, it's just, to me, it's in very poor taste. And I thought we were done with it until I saw some of the other takes. And I don't know, I shouldn't be shocked at this point, but I was a little shocked and disappointed. Again, it's in most places in the world, it is illegal. And I will, what was Meshmesh's title here? Yeah, we're just going to go crime is supported. Crypto KOLs with crime. This will definitely get some people fired up. Here is a post from an actual attorney. Again, they're not a practicing attorney throughout the world. In this case, Ariel is an IP and corporate attorney in fintech, I believe based in Miami. So doesn't speak for the entire globe, but I'm just going to read this for those of you that are not on video. Ariel says, I'll pin it up top as well if anyone wants to read further. I haven't read this, by the way. I just hit my timeline. My timeline heard me talking. My audio heard me talking about crime, and so it served this up to me first thing. It says, let's talk about shilling for compensation without disclosing. Seems to be quite popular again. If you are getting paid, cash, tokens, NFTs, whatever, and not telling your audience, you're violating FTC rules. Penalties? Up to 50 grand per violation, plus potential SEC scrutiny if it involves securities. But Ariel, what can be classified as compensation? Great question. Under FTC rules, compensation is anything of value, not just cash. That includes free tokens, NFTs, access to allow lists, discounted mints, airdrops, equity, trips, merch, even exposure. If someone gives you anything in exchange for posting, promoting, or hyping a product or project, you must clearly and conspicuously disclose it. No fine print, no thank you, no burying in a hashtag. The FTC expects it to be unmissable. Even saying not financial advice doesn't shield you if you're shilling and getting paid. Seems pretty straightforward. Again, this is per the FTC, which we're talking US law here. I realize this is a global industry and this may not apply to everyone, but so maybe there's worlds where Trove or KOL is not disclosing aren't breaking the law where they reside. They're promoting undisclosed promotions, undisclosed paid promotions to a large audience in the US. And at best, it's in bad taste. At best, it's questionable morals and ethics. I'm going to share another post from an attorney on this topic. Again, not that what an attorney in the US says is global law. It's not international law. I get that. A lot of states, countries, etc., have similar laws. Some are more severe. Some are more harsh. ICOB says, yeah, I'm 100% sure there's a bunch of people not disclosing. Whatever. Brands are okay with that are not brands that match my value. And brands I choose to work with have value ethics. Long-term win for me by staying in my lane. I agree. It's also going to, I might pass on more deals. There's some brands I was considering working with. I may not now because if they continue to work with some of these individuals who blatantly continue to not disclose paid promotion, it is a red flag for me. Apparently it's not for many, and some think it's, it's the fault of the unbeknownst buyer of the token, not the person that's not disclosing. But I go on. This is the on disclosures this is ICO Beast here. I'm quoting ICO Beast, not a practicing attorney, but an educated, and I believe has practiced, but not currently. He says this isn't going to be some super long-winded thing. It's a rundown of the 3 main reasons disclosures matter and why you should care. This isn't about whale or Trove or anything specific. It's observations from the last 2 years as I've learned how the game here is played and how rotten it is as its center, and my thoughts on why it should be different. I've always tried to do things the right way. I wish more would follow suit. I feel the exact same way. And I'm not going to change me. I would leave the space before I would change how I operate. I'm not going to start doing things unethically, immorally, illegal because others are doing it and getting paid to do so. I'm not going to stoop to those levels. And unfortunately, that I think at the root of my frustration is it seems that more now, you know what? Everyone's doing it. I'm going to join it as well. And not only that, I'm going to gaslight the people who aren't doing it. F you, man. Back to quoting ICO again here. 1, it's literally the law in most places. All 27 European Union member nations require disclosure. The US obviously requires disclosure through FTC rules. Basically, every modern society realizes that disclosure, not advertisement, are necessary to prevent deception to an audience. So at a very base level, disclosure matters when you're shilling a token, product, etc., because it's literally a rule in place to keep markets honest. There's some gray area here, like media company deals. WRT, what does that mean? Help me understand that. WRT with explicit disclosure every time they talk about a project that's sponsored, a segment, etc. But overall, if you are one-off promoting something that is direct payment, it's pretty straightforward. The social contract between you and your audience. This one is a big one. Why do you follow people? Is it because they're entertaining, attractive, good at writing, alpha packed? At least in crypto, the vast majority of large accounts are the size they are because at some point along the line, they were able to make people money or convince you that they were able to make money. Implicit in this comes the idea that your audience is believing things you post about upside opportunities, at least when it comes to organic posting. That's in bold, and that's important. What I said yesterday, it's worse, far worse, if someone discloses 18 out of 20 paid posts, and then for whatever reason they forget or they choose not to disclose 2 out of 20 paid posts. It's worse, far worse in my opinion, because it appears that actually is not a paid post. Rather, this is something that is organic. This person must really believe in this because most of the time, all they talk about is things they're getting paid to talk about. So when they're talking about something they're not getting paid to talk about, this must be the one. You guys want to say disclosures level the playing field. You can still believe something is high upside and be compensated for promotion. An example of this for me, again, I'm quoting ICO Beast, is Meteor and Jupiter. I think both are DeFi powerhouses on Solana and have long-term upside. So I'm happy to promote their stuff. But it's only fair that an audience knows I've received compensation for a post about them, if I've received compensation. Even if I likely would have posted something regardless, you'll note that I have a mix of paid and organic posts about these protocols because I actually like and use them. The flip side of this is it's genuinely okay to accept advertising deals with projects, even if you aren't sold on them being a massive upside play, as long as you disclose that it's a paid advertisement. Does Mr. Beast think you're going to get upside in life from eating Feastables? No. Did he build his entire digital brand and turn it into an advertisement powerhouse? Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that, provided it's clear, which it always is in his case, that he's advertising something. He goes on 3, the motivation. To get to the core here, the real question is, why would you not disclose? And there aren't many, if any, good answers. Basically boils down to a few possibilities in mind. 1, you forgot. This seems plausible for people who forget once or twice. Highly implausible for people who regularly engage in this kind of behavior. 2, you don't feel good about promoting the product or project. Could be that you don't want to get judged. Could be that you know it's a bad project. Could be that you think you're taking payment or you're above taking payment. You're not. Not a good reason. And 3, you want to obscure how much your posting is paid versus organic. Ultimately, this goes back to the audience social contract point. It seems totally within belief that some people don't disclose, because if they did, you would see a large portion of their feed is just paid promotion, which for obvious reasons would be a problem for their public image / platform. There is no alpha in paid promotion. Alpha sources itself. If it exists, it doesn't need to spend on marketing. So there's 2 attorneys weighing in why disclosures are important. I see we had several people come up on stage. We got Jack back today. Always a pleasure. Joey joined us as well. We'll get to you in a second. And I'm going to show you some others that are defending this, gaslighting other users, other participants in this space. Oh, WRT with regards to. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Today I learned W/R/T. It means with regards to. It must be some legal shorthand that I missed by not going to law school. I kid. This. I'll fit one more. I just went to Google orangey, and the words that X auto populates: orangey scam, orangey trove. Like, I think for as frustrated as I am with the people gaslighting the participants, maybe things change now. That was my more silver lining yesterday, is that I think this is a pivotal moment. I think this is actually going to drive some change. And will these individuals who have continually taken and not disclosed paid promotions, will they change? Probably not. I feel a little naive in saying this. Maybe it's just hopium. My belief that some brands are going to choose not to work with these individuals. Orangey was paid $35,000 to promote Trove, didn't disclose it. He did disclose it after being questioned on it, just like others said, Whale did come clean after being slashed. Like, he probably wouldn't have said anything had he not got called on it. Had they not actually rugged and stolen tens of millions of dollars, maybe no one says anything. No one cares. They just continue to move on. Oh, that's just the space. That's just crypto. People don't disclose things. Why are we pulling our industry down to those levels? Like, this is part of the problem. Crypto has a trust and reputation problem, and by supporting and defending these sort of behaviors and gaslighting the active participants, the users who took action based off of a post or recommendation like this, it's certainly not helping anyone new join the space. I got a few others I want to get to, but before we get too spicy with those, we'll get Joey in here, and then Jack. GM Joey, go ahead. Welcome to the stage.
GM guys, I don't know if first thing I wanted to mention, because you talked about disclosures, those of us that were here in 2021 remember the massive promotion of NFTs on Instagram. Like, there was all these pages that were constantly getting paid to talk about how this is the next Bored Ape Yacht Club and you got to get in on this one. There was one specific page, it was actually NFT on Instagram, that got banned by Instagram after all this, after all the stuff, all the chips had fallen, or the dominoes had fallen, whatever the saying is, right? Because people were getting sued, like celebrities were getting sued for not disclosure, whatever. That page specifically got banned on Instagram for years, if I remember correctly, because of, if I also remember correctly, Mark Cuban, the gentleman who owned that page or ran that page, was actually partners with Mark Cuban on something. And that page got banned for years by Instagram because of non-disclosure. Is the solution for X to actually step in the same way Instagram or Meta did and just start banning these pages or these profiles, I should say, that are making money and not disclosing. It happened on Instagram to a lot of pages. Like there were pages with, I can't even begin to tell you how many DMs I would get from Instagram pages when I worked on the first NFT project I worked on. Oh, we have 5 million followers. And they were all just bot farmed, Instagram pages. And they're like, look at all the activity we get promoting NFT projects. You should pay us all this money. And meanwhile, all this money to them was like $100 for a post, which you knew was super sketchy. If you've got 1 million followers, why are you only asking for $100 a post? They all got banned. So should X step up and start banning these profiles that are not disclosing? I would say yes. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is in America, like having worked for people that do a lot of selling, you have to have legally T's and C's. You have to on anything you do. The question would be, and I don't know how it is in other countries, but if these things like Trove, when you go to participate in these ICOs or whatever it is, and they have a T's and C's section, which is terms and conditions, right? Like, hey, by participating in this, blah 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 blah, and or we're promising whatever it was, so much percentage back from the pre-sale, and right, like if all that is spelled out in their terms and conditions, then they're definitely opening themselves up to serious legal issues because they're spelling it all out in writing. Now, if they're not doing any of that, I would say stay as far away from anybody that doesn't have terms and conditions that you're looking to participate in. Because if they don't have any of that, they have an easy way out. They're not legally obligated to do anything if they don't have a terms and conditions when you're looking to participate in them, especially in America. That's like a requirement when you buy anything, is to have a terms and conditions page. So those are the two things I wanted to bring up and see what other people thought about X just stepping in and banning pages that don't disclose the way Instagram did or Meta did, and the terms and conditions thing.
Great call out. And yeah, it was the account at NFT. Not only did they get called out on Instagram and get banned there, I vividly remember one of the founders of that account, that company, yes, Cuban was involved. He backed it. And not only were they undisclosed paid ads, often they were direct scams. They were rugs. There were several. It wasn't just the NFT account, but this was one of the most notorious ones because it had over 1 million followers, like 1.7 million followers. And, there was investigations. CoffeeZilla did a expose on it. They were charging $25,000 a post with 5 post minimum. So it was 6 figures to get. Jack, we lost you on stage. If you want to come back up, I would love to get you in on this. I'm not sure what's going on with X this morning, but it was giving me the issue with the account as well. It might
Jack twice on stage right now with his hand
really?
up.
Looks like we lost him altogether. Maybe he had to take a lap. There he goes. Yeah, he had to take a lap. Jack is back. We'll go to you right in a second there. But yeah, good call on the NFT account because I vividly remember one of the people had a gold ape on X and they got basically excommunicated. I don't even know if he's still in the space. If they did, they had to rebrand because the community came together to attack these individuals. Says it's wrong. You can't promote things that you're getting paid for and not disclose it. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it, period. Let alone if it's a scam that is rugging people and stealing money. And that this happened a lot. It actually was part of okay, is there a lot of my personal lived journey? Did I realize, oh man, there's a lot of grifters and scammers in crypto? Yeah. But it was offset for me mentally that, what? For every one bad apple, even though they might get a lot of attention, there's 10 good ones that say, no, we don't that's not indicative of the space at large. That's not the industry that I know and love. I am not only am I not supporting that, I'm going to call that shit out. To where something happened, and now fast forward a few years, and a lot of people are cool with it because, this person, I'm friends with them. It's okay if they do the same thing that other accounts got banned for because it's illegal. Not to mention all the downstream effects of the scams, the grifts, the extraction that was enabled by these undisclosed paid shills. Like, while did the NFT account do harm to the industry, the NFT industry? Yeah, it did. But at least they got called out for it, and they weren't supported by the space, to where now the space is like, I would love to say it's split, but my timeline looks like it's maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30 supporting this stuff. Oh, you know what? Everyone does it. Everyone makes mistakes. How are you going to, like, that's hypocritical to call these people out. What do you mean? It's hypocritical not to call these people out. Why I'm bringing it up again today, because I couldn't get out of my head. Like, was I too soft on this subject yesterday? Did I not really speak my mind? Because I too don't have anything against Webb. Never met him in person, but I've had nothing but good interactions with him myself. But what he did was wrong, and I don't think he just forgot. Maybe he did. It's still wrong. And to defend that and say it's hypocritical to say, oh, he deserves a pass. These others, Orange deserves a pass this time. Or well, we're gonna land-based Orangey because he got paid $35,000 and I don't like him because he rugged some meme coin, or he's promoted another meme that rugged, but I like Whale and it's okay. They're both wrongdoers here. The average participant that bought into the ICO because they saw an unpaid shill, they're not a wrongdoer. Don't give me that do your own research. It's like, that's gaslighting. Stop it. Be better as a space. If we want to grow and actually fix our reputation problem, we can't be enabling this sort of activity. It is just wrong. Jack, go ahead. GM, thanks for joining me. And sorry for getting a little spicy this morning. It makes me really disappointed to see this sort of activity being defended and then gaslighting the users of the space.
Dude, I think you're a voice that is very much needed right now in the space. I don't know why you're apologizing. Yeah, look, I'm with you. It's hard. This is what I will say. It is very difficult when you are biased by somebody because they're a nice guy and they're a likable character. And I think Whale is both of those things. He's incredibly likable. I think he, before this event, has been a net good for the space. I think he's done a lot for the space in terms of his content and, just being a reputable creator. Now, does one mistake lead to a complete cancellation? I don't know. It's not for me to say.
Jack, do you think this is the only time he's never disclosed a paid advertisement?
Well, this is what I would say, Joey, is that should be fairly easy to go back and check now, right? Like, anytime a project has been represented by Whale, you can just ask that question outright. These are the posts that you haven't referenced as publicly being paid to post, but are clear endorsements of a project or token or product. Can you just clarify that these have all been unpaid shills? Like, these are actually down to you genuinely liking the product. Now, Whale can answer yes or no to that, but if he doesn't answer either, then that's a bigger concern. And at that point, if this is a learned behavior because this is the space that we're in, then I don't think that's as forgivable as a single issue. I will say that. And I think some of these guys are blatantly just in the wrong, very clearly. I think a lot of these guys are younger. The reason I threw my hand up initially was because I do think at this point, this might be the death of undocked accounts for a level of support and investment that is required. Like, I think if you are a project now paying undocked accounts to promote your goods and services, you will definitely think twice. I think also, as somebody who is in the space and learned about the space, that's something you're going to be dubious about moving forward. Should there be a place for it? Again, I don't know. I think it's less likely that this occurs if the person has their face, voice, and known location and address publicly. We've just seen another guy get beat the crap out of for losing people 30 million. That hit the timeline today. You know, there's vigilante justice, there's legal justice, and there's a reason when you are a public founder or you are in any way somebody who has to address and get paid for goods, that you are doxxed in the normal world. And I think for whatever benefits this does have, for example, you know, if you're from a certain region and there are biases to that region, etc., I get that. I don't know what the solution to that is as well, and that is something that needs a solution. But I think for the most part, realistically, what we need to learn from this is there's probably further questions to be asked of Whale. If he is the person we hope he is, then hey, is there anything else you need to come clean about? This is one has been found out. Have you ever done this before where you haven't been found out? Yes or no? I agree with Joey's take that honestly, X has an obligation at a certain point if someone is consistently found to be guilty of shilling and going against laws in a tremendous amount of countries by not disclosing that they're shilling, but then somebody verifies that on the timeline in a way that can be tracked and verified. They need to go, and X probably needs to ban those accounts. And for the most part, I'm with Cap. I'm a little pissed that we are trying to defend this. Like I think there's a difference between defending the grey and just being like, you know, I spoke about this yesterday. There are things that happen in the traditional space that are legal. That are we like? Do we need to course correct on that? Because in this space, there's more financial ties to those products, and it's not just you're buying, you know, I don't know, like some green juice because it's got health benefits. You're actually putting significant amounts of your capital into, which if you lose is going to have a net negative on your life. I think these are things that we need to address on spaces. We need to address publicly, and we don't just need to keep KOLs accountable here. We need to look at brands as well. And look, if you are a brand that is promoting Orangey and like these accounts, once the space decides that actually no, these people are not disclosing publicly people they support, products they support, I think that's a net negative for the brand as well. And we need to call that out because that's the only way that we're really going to be able to course correct here is if a brand doesn't see a net positive by still paying these people. And right now, there's a huge net positive that they are seeing from paying these people who have continuously come up in scam allegations time and time again.
Yeah, I agree. And it's Whale's not the only one. It's not a Whale issue. There's a lot of people there. I just pinned up a video up top. It says 90% of CT is paid. Some disclose it, some don't. I'm going to share, and I like Moritz as well. I'm just going to share a post from Moritz this morning that was one of the ones that like got me thinking, man, I'm going to have to talk about this again because Ian said in the chat, I was too soft yesterday because it is wrong. I truly believe it's wrong, and it's not cancelable. You shouldn't get canceled, but it's okay to say person made a mistake. It's wrong. We shouldn't do that. We can't support it. They're the wrongdoer, not the user. Okay, I'm quoting Moritz here. Here's the only thing that I'm going to say about the Trove situation. You invested because a KOL shilled it. Then there are two scenarios. You ate blindly without doing your due diligence, your mistake. Two, you did your due diligence, but the project looked legit. In that case, can you really blame the KOLs for not having seen it? No, but you can blame the KOLs for not disclosing that they're being paid to promote it.
Cap, is there a problem that we aren't highlighting projects who are putting within their deal flow that you can't talk about this as a promotion?
That's
because
another thing that's
isn't that the due diligence that a person would potentially be put off by, but because no KOL is disclosing the fact that they've been reached out by this brand specifically who has asked for, and whether they take the deal or not, obviously the idea would be that they wouldn't take it because otherwise what are you doing? But like, is that a problem? Like when a KOL is reached out to, is it their duty to try and let the timeline know that this is how this brand is operating to put a stop to it?
It'd be helpful. They don't have an obligation to do that, but it'd be helpful. Because there's a lot of people saying that now after the fact. Moritz being one. I'm saying this is someone who neither accepted the paid promotion nor put money into the ICO. Well, why didn't you accept the paid promotion? Because he says, to his point, that many scams are very professional, and I don't believe that anyone knowingly promoted a scam. Maybe not. But they knowingly promoted a paid promotion without disclosing that. And if you are promoting something, yeah, you should be doing your due diligence at a different level. Also, just disclose it. It's not that hard. It's like, it's your due diligence. Part of it could be this person rarely talks about things organically. When they do, it's usually a cook because it's something they believe in. So my due diligence, if it's a paid promo, I'm not aping in blindly. But if they're promoting something organically that's they truly believe in, that's part of my due diligence. It's you're duping the individuals. My response, I said it right in there, is why can't we just hold the wrongdoers accountable? Why can't we all just agree that not disclosing a paid promo is bad and wrong? The fact that the scammers, grifters, and those breaking the law continue to get free passes while gaslighting others is one of the biggest issues with this space, and largely why we see few to no new entrants. We're not going to be taken seriously when this is. I guess at the end of the day, I feel we've went backwards in regard to being above board here. We've went backwards in terms of killing pump and dump shitters that are sub 100K market caps. We went backwards we used to collectively agree that undisclosed paid shills were bad. And there was a lot of people that got ripped for this in 21, 22, 23. Some got driven out of the space because, or lost their status as a KOL because they weren't taken seriously anymore. Brands wouldn't want to work with them. Now, to Jack's point, there's different tiers to this thing. That's the other thing that came out is you'll get paid more if you don't disclose something. I've been asked not to disclose that it's paid before, and we just passed. But now it's like, oh, we'll give you X if you want to disclose this. We'll give you X plus Y if you don't disclose that you're paid.
I think that's called a bribe.
It is a bribe.
Pretty sure that's illegal.
It is illegal. It's legal on many fronts. And before, well, this person lives in this country and it's not illegal there.
They're still advertising to U.S. citizens on purpose. They can still be. You can still go after them in another country because, like, those laws apply to the citizens of the place that you're advertising
where you're
to.
doing business at. Right? You can live in a country, but if you're selling a product in the U.S. that gives people cancer, you're downstream. You're probably going to get legal action, even if you don't live here. Like you can't. And forget, like, let's say it wasn't illegal. It's just wrong. Like, what happened to, like, you can be anonymous if you want. Just do things the right way. It's not hard to disclose something. ICOB said, here's a few reasons why you wouldn't. I get it. But is it worth your reputation and risk losing those brand accounts? The answer has been, seemingly it's yes, because a lot of brands don't care. And everybody's, oh, those are just the scam brands. Well, it's not all. Maybe it changes now, but it's not been. Like a lot of these, I'm not making it about a single individual. A lot of these people have gotten, there's some that we've worked with that are credible brands, and they're a good brand. But it's, again, as someone who might work with these brands, it's causing me to have second thought of, like, okay, who are you working with? I had an opportunity to get into an early round. It was very favorable terms, seemed like a slam dunk deal. And there was a particular very large KOL who has very large spaces that are botted, has a very poor reputation in this space, and I passed. I did not want to be associated. I didn't want to be advisor alongside and have my name on a poster or a flyer next to this individual, because it's just, and I don't care. I'm not like, you want to bot your spaces, fine. You want to do other stuff that's questionable, fine. I choose not to be associated with that. But for whatever reason, so many other KOLs, because all their friends, I like this person, they're a good person, or brands are like, well, this person can get me impressions and eyeballs, so I'm gonna pay them even if they don't disclose and do other things that are below board. Let's get Oxy in here, and then we'll go back to Jack. Oxy, GM.
GM, yeah. So just some context. So, like we're saying, just disclose it, which obviously I agree with. So Deeb's DeFi put out a post talking about how an agency offered him the deal or whatever, and then he wrote this whole thread, and then at the very end he was like, just so you know, this is a paid promotion, and he had it disclosed in that post. He sent it back to them, and they're like, oh no, you can't, like, you will not be allowed in this round or in this deal if you disclose this. So like he didn't even get the opportunity to post it and disclose because they simply wouldn't allow him to do that, which obviously is like red flags all over the place, right? And like, just don't take that deal if that's the situation, which he did. He didn't take the deal, and he's like, yeah, this isn't worth it to me. But he's talking about how he got pressured by other KOLs in the space. He got pressured by his own agent who brought him the deal in the first place. Like it feels like such a like a social engineering like issue. Like it's almost like deeper than, oh, just disclose it. It's like a social engineering like echo chamber that we kind of are in CT, where crime is legal, all these things that we continue to say and hear around this space. And then when you try to do something right, you get pressured to do the wrong thing. It's like, it's just so much, I feel like it's so much deeper than just disclose it, because of how blatant, and then also how much pressure gets put on people that are offered these massive deals that are, could be life-changing money. And it's like, then you're essentially social engineered to to make the wrong decision, which is essentially what that is, So yeah. It's just crazy stuff coming out of this story, really. But
it really
just wanted to add that additional context.
It really is. Am I not crazy that it didn't used to be this bad, did it? Like it didn't it used to be more when something like this happened. This used to be all we saw on the timeline with stuff like Deeb's DeFi here. I do have this post pulled up on screen, who were giving more background or saying, yeah, this isn't cool. This post, he goes on to say, like, this happened to me. Agency offers me a deal. I spend a week writing a thread. They review it, hours of correction into approval. I add one line disclosure. Agent sends draft to the project. Project says that I should remove the disclosure line. I say no. Agent replies, pressure. You already did so much work. Be ashamed to not use it. We already paid you. It'll look more organic this way. I say no again. Other influencers on the deal DM me, bro, just accept. It's fine. No one is disclosing. I refuse again. Project and agent get mad. Say I'm hard to work with. They pull the deal. Hours of work for nothing. I send the money back. Weeks later, project rugs. When a project agents ask you not to disclose, run the opposite direction. Good article from ICO and reminder of the importance of disclosures. That was the one I pulled up earlier. More of this. I'm not saying anyone should get canceled over this that didn't disclose a paid promotion. Mistakes do happen. But let's at least think twice who we are standing up, who we are providing that reach to. There are a lot that do it right. And there's also a lot of younger individuals in this space. There's individuals that I genuinely believe them when they said they weren't aware they had to disclose paid promotions. Now you know. And when those sort of actions are defended, or maybe gaslighting isn't the right word, but like this is real social engineering at scale. And it's kind of effed up. It makes me sad. Jack, go ahead and get back in here.
I think Joey's hand's still up from earlier. I think X is bugging out again.
It is bugging out. Joey, go ahead. Appreciate you being a gentleman. Jack, go ahead, Joey, and then we'll go to Jack.
Of course. Two quick things. So the first thing, if I would imagine back in Instagram, people were repeatedly reporting that page, which is probably what led to the investigation, which is probably what led to being banned. So if people here want to see, the disclosures start to happen, I would imagine it's going to take a lot of people, reporting these individual pages as, I don't know I've never looked through like what the reporting can be on X, but a lot of people would need to start reporting these pages for them to probably open some type of investigation.
I ain't no snitch.
But so that's the first thing. So if you want to see some of these pages have repercussions, like the hundreds of thousands of followers that they've built up, and you want them to have repercussions, people have to start reporting them. The second thing is what you guys were just talking about, and I was listening to you, and I thought of this about these two guys that said they added this line for disclosure, so then they couldn't work with them. Do you guys feel at that point those KOLs have an obligation to say like, hey guys, just a heads up, I was asked to promote this. I wanted to add a line disclosing it was a paid promotion. They pulled it because they wouldn't let me. Watch out. Because to me, them telling us this after the fact, okay, that's fine and good, right? Like you wanted to disclose, they wouldn't let you. But did you say something before, like alerting your followers that could potentially be following these other KOLs that this might happen?
I mean, would I like to see that? Yes. Would that be beneficial for the space? I think it'd be healthier. At the same time, I don't think they have an obligation.
Because I would. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me being too honest, but if I was approached by somebody that said, hey, we want you to promote this new RWA perp platform because you're in the RWA space. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to disclose that this is paid. And they said, no, we're not allowing anybody to disclose this is paid. And my agent and all the other KOLs are trying to pressure me. That would be a huge red flag. I would immediately go on the timeline and be like, hey guys.
That's why you're not getting offered those deals.
You what to say?
I said that's why you're not getting offered those deals. You're doing Fed activities.
I mean, that's fine, but I would rather not get murdered or kidnapped or beat up or.
Joey, I want to play a game. Do you want to play? Are you ready for this psychological game? It's called How Much Money Will It Take? All right, I'm going to start at $50,000. Yes or no?
No.
$500,000.
Are we talking about saying not disclosing?
Yeah, how much money is it going to take for you to fold on your values? $500,000.
No.
$1.5 million.
No. You can keep going. I won't do it. Like you can name some crazy numbers. It would have honestly.
I don't believe you. You have kids. I don't believe you.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, that I'm fully doxxed. If you ask me this as a completely
$5 million.
No, I'm fully doxxed. Like I literally post where I play softball on Sunday.
$15 million.
No, because somebody could show up and hurt me or my kids because I'm fully doxxed.
You can pay for security with $15 million.
Yeah, but that's not enough money to live on and raise kids on for the next 30 years.
What?
Like no.
What?
You got it, Joey. Joni, you got to realize Joey is planning to have 11 children. So yeah, he's accurate.
Wait. Hold on. You're joking, right? No. You don't think 15 million's enough to raise kids and live on forever?
Regardless,
I appreciate the hypothetical question.
But regardless, the point is if I was undoxxed, this is a different conversation, right? Like and again, even if I was undoxxed, I probably wouldn't.
$25 million.
No, I'm not doing it as a fully doxxed person because I'm not risking my wife or my kids' lives.
$120 million.
I appreciate the hypothetical, but let's keep things moving. I understand money can be a driver, but I think bringing it back to reality, what actually has happened is I think most people that took this paid promotion and didn't disclose it, it wasn't life-changing money for them. They've got many other deals, many of which they disclose. So maybe they made a mistake. Again, that happens. I'm taking more issue with, and to Joey's earlier question, if you get these offers and you're told not to disclose this, do they have an obligation to share that on it? I don't think they have an obligation. Would it be nice? Yeah.
Captain, I want to play a game with you. You ready? $2 million.
Are you asking me? No, I wouldn't take $2 million to promote a rug or scam.
Who's speaking right now? I'm not even seeing anyone speaking on
It's
the
Jonah.
Jonah.
It's the guy with the that face.
Okay.
Jonah, what's your
Yeah, I
number?
mean,
How much money would it take you to?
By the way, I don't think they have an obligation to tell us if they were approached to promote something and then the deal was reneged on because they wouldn't put, like, they wanted to put the disclosure. But I would imagine that if you're coming out, if you have the integrity to come out after the fact and say, oh, this is why I didn't participate, why not just do it before, so that way your followers are warned in advance? That's all I'm saying. I don't think they have an obligation to tell us anything. But if you're going to speak up at this point, once like the fires are already lit, and you want to act like, oh, I'm all high and mighty because I didn't do it.
It's
Why not
virtue
just do it?
signaling. It's entirely virtue signaling.
Well,
and
that's what I'm saying. So
it's an
tell us,
easy,
tell us before. Tell your 50 or 100,000 followers that are probably following all those other KOLs. Hey, this is what happened. This is a red flag, in my opinion. Do with it what you want. But this is why I'm not promoting this.
Smart, dumb. My hands are struggling. So if you have your hand up and I don't see it, give me a wave or something. I can see emojis, but the hands up.
Jack's the only one with his hand up I can see.
Jack will go to you here in 30 seconds. Smart dumb man adds in the abstract chat. First of all, he's a very smart man, not dumb, because he was the one who informed me that WRT meant with regards to. But smart man over there says scams are taken for granted nowadays and paid little attention. Remembers when Scott Melker, I believe Scott is the Wolf of Wall Street, got skewered in 21, and there were whole spaces dedicated to it. Now people just move on, and there's this, like, and I know some people's like, oh, I'm not seeing it on timeline. I've seen a lot. I'll pull up some more, but it's almost as if, like, back to, I hadn't thought of it as social engineering. For me, the word that popped in my head is gaslighting the participants. But I think the Oxy's point on social engineering is more, it's like, we know there's a lot of up and coming content creators. Now that InfoFi died, all the agencies that are running these applications, they've got 700,000 plus content creators. A lot of them are being convinced, because of the response to this, that it's not only okay to not disclose paid promotions. You're an idiot if you start disclosing paid promotions. You're leaving money on the table. You're doing it wrong. Like, everyone does it. No, everyone doesn't do it. Most people disclose their paid promotions. Do a lot of KOLs bot their spaces and bot their posts? Yeah. I hope they disclose that to brands. I don't know if they do or not. It doesn't mean it's something that you should encourage other people to do. If they want to do it, that's on their own. But I think that the social engineering here is, you got a lot of people thinking, oh man, I've always disclosed my posts. Maybe I've been doing it wrong. I hope that's not the case. And that's why I know not everyone this is the exciting topic or whatever wants to talk about, but I don't know. I feel somewhat of a responsibility to speak my mind and stand firm that, like, we don't have to stoop to levels of crime because other people are doing it, or other people made a mistake or forgot to do something that we know is wrong. Stop defending wrongdoing. Remove the individuals out of the equation. Let's be better as a space. Do things above board. If you are doing this on Instagram, you're probably going to get your account suspended. So if you're an up-and-coming creator, are you going to risk your entire, you just built a following of 10,000 people, 100,000 people, you're going to put that all at risk for taking a $5,000 check and they tell you not to disclose it? It's not worth it. Go ahead, Jack.
In that case, actually, it is kind of worth it. It's really easy to grow an account of that size.
Look, devil's advocacy. I know Cap always says debate with what's the word, Cap? Actually, disagree without being disagreeable.
You got it.
That's it. But look, from my perspective, like personal experience, I'm going to share here is I have negatively been impacted by doing this sort of thing before, which is calling out people that I feel have made a mistake and should know better, and then having lost opportunities because they are friends with so many people in the industry.
Yep.
And this is the problem that the space is currently going through. Specifically, I'm not going to name this person because it already came out and nobody seems to care. They now hold one of the biggest spaces on a weekly basis on a certain area of crypto, because if I say the specifics, then everyone's going to know. And I'm not here to start any beef with anyone. But I called them out very actively when they launched a token that they said was an experiment, didn't mention that in any way. And then all of a sudden, you know, a lot of people lost money on that based on this creator. Now, I think they maybe lost a partnership with that, but now 90% of the space goes on spaces with this person and talks about things on a weekly basis, promoting their brand, getting more exposure. I can't do that. They will not let me up on that show. Also, people who work with them won't work with me, won't be on spaces with me. Then there's an even bigger account, which we all know in this space, who basically duped a whole collection, specifically lied about what they were going to do with that collection, and got a ton of protection on the timeline, which again has consequently, when I called them out very publicly, actually did a quote tweet, I now am losing multiple opportunities for calling that person out on the behavior and saying I don't believe in that. So for people who are like, yeah, why aren't these people, and I even asked this question myself, is this something that a creator has a responsibility to do? And we're not sure they have a responsibility to do it. It would be nice. The consequence of that is this is their career, this is their income. And by doing this, they are potentially losing out on income right now. Now that's the issue, right? Like the issue is that by trying to signal to people and protect people's investments, you could lose out yourself in terms of your career. And Jonah even joked about it. Now that I know it's Jonah, for some reason he's shown as a listener for me on the account. But, you know, that's why you don't get this deal flow. That clearly is a thing. Like, it is clearly a thing that if you demand to post that you are in partnership with this project and this, you know, whatever it is, post whatever is brought to you, paid promotion, like you are losing deal flow and agents just won't eventually touch you. And then you've got the good agents who are like, no, we completely do the reverse of this. I think this is the problem that we have, is for all of the like positive sentiment and the positive momentum that we can get by calling these people out, it's hypocrisy, because there are multiple people who are operating very successfully in this space, supported by the biggest founders and the biggest creators in this space, who have rugged communities, rugged tokens. And now, you know, yes, what Whale has done is bad, but objectively, is it as bad as literally rugging a meme coin or rugging a project entirely, like the whole business of it? I don't think so. So this is my thing, where like at a certain point, I am now realizing, as I try and push on my podcast journey, as I try and, you know, really make a go of a media business here in this space, because I love this space. There's certain things that I'm not willing to generate beef about right now. This is why I'm not naming the people I've named in the past, because it's so negative EV for my own career. And it's not like it's like these people don't know. This is the problem.
Yeah, you just unpacked why I probably went a little softer than I should have, or I felt I should have yesterday, is because of exactly that. Like this, yesterday's space, today, it's not making me any money. And it may not cost me any money, it may not cost me deals, but it's likely to cost me some deals. It's likely to cost me some money. Maybe not, but it's definitely not making me any money. It's definitely not winning over an agency or two that I do business with that also works with some of these individuals that are their golden childs. Like, I get that. I understand that. I'm cognizant of that. And I think that's where it didn't set well with me, because I don't want to be part of the problem. And while I'm not supporting or condoning the actions, I'd rather not cave on my morals and ethics and make less money than take the shortcut. I don't know. I hope this is a change in how some of these brands, not all, some are going to continue to do this. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. But I hope some brands think twice and stop paying more for not disclosing, but require disclosures. Like, you will gain more respect that way. Joey, get back in here. And actually, I'm going to go refill the coffee. So if you don't mind taking the mic for a few seconds, if I'm not, you'll I don't know if you probably can't see video. I'll let you know when I'm back, but I should be good. And like, I don't need the mobile stream drop. Just need the refill some more fuel here so we can continue the spice over the second half of the show. Joey, it's all yours.
Yeah, going back to a point earlier about you talked about how somebody said like they should identify the red flags, and like it's your fault if you bought something that rugs, it's your fault, and this and that, and like there were 3 different conversations happening. And I think the main conversation that we're talking about is disclosures, and everybody else is saying like, oh, you should still do your own research and blah blah blah. The part that's frustrating to me with all of this is that there's so many very good projects with huge potential out there that could give people opportunities to make money in this space, to be a part of things. And these KOLs and influencers and whatever we want to call them would rather, for lack of a better term, sell their soul to the devil because it's a quick buck versus actually wanting to push what is being built in this space forward. And maybe I'm wrong by saying that, but there's a lot of people that have been building here for a long time that are not going anywhere, that are genuinely trying to advance blockchain technology and crypto, that don't get the love because these people would rather make a quick buck on a project. And whether it rugs or not, they don't care. Whether price goes up or down, they don't care because they're making their 8 to 12, 15, 20 grand. And as somebody who has been building in here for so long, like maybe that's my bias talking, but it's just frustrating to Cap's point that like it does feel like every time we take 2 steps forward, we take 10 steps back when there's so many good people. And I'll say there's people on this stage that are genuinely trying to do things in this space to bring us more mainstream and be adopted by retail. And it's just frustrating. So I don't know who else shares that frustration in the audience.
Joey, can you put in Power World cards and then I can play on your platform?
Jack, go ahead, get back in here.
Yeah, look, I think from my perspective, when it's all said and done, this, like, if we're gonna create change, then I think it has to come from the brands as well. I just don't think this is ever gonna work in terms of like pointing at KOLs, especially when there's a new one every month and they're younger and younger as well, and they're going to make these mistakes. I think for me, you could community note them, to Joey's point, like genuinely, like every time a certain person who we know does does promotions without disclosing, there's enough of us to community note them and say this person is known to talk about projects as if it's organic when actually they're being paid to promote this project. Like eventually people will get the message there. I still think fundamentally it goes back to having to call out brands who are paying these people in the first place. And also, I think it was mentioned in the Discord, the War Room Discord. The big question is, if it's been fundamentally very clear, virtue signaling or not, that people didn't promote this project because they specifically stated that you cannot disclose that this is a promotion, it feels less and less likely that this is a mistake. That's the one thing I will say. Like, if it's clear that that project was asking that question, saying, look, you can post about this, but you are not allowed to tell people it's promotion, and people are now coming in and saying, yeah, that's what turned me off the deal. Whether they should have said that before or not, I still think the idea that this was a mistake sort of loses its credibility because, yeah, like they've specifically asked that question.
Yeah,
to add to what Jack said real quick, I'm sorry, is I think it was a Jack that said it earlier, or about like the undoxed founders, the undoxed KOLs is something that we could see go away. I just don't understand how 5 years later this is still like a topic of like why we're trusting undoxed people with our financial decisions. Like I thought we were through we were past that in 2021 and 2022 with all those rugs, but yet now we're still having this conversation of like, should we trust undoxed people? Like that, to me, that's just still crazy.
Well, I think I'm not trying to simplify things, but I think the simple answer is, as Jonah said earlier, it's easy to build an account, especially if you're going to do it the shortcut way. And undoxed is one of the ways. It's for many reasons, it's easier to grow and do things like this if you're not doxed. And so I think that there's a reason to not dox financially. And then I do agree that it's not going to be this show or anyone putting out, any attorney putting out a thread on, hey, disclosures are important. Like, is that all good information? Yeah, but it's not going to, all due respect to Ariel and ICO Beast and Deeb's DeFi, appreciate their takes on the timeline. It's not going to change anything. As if the brands continue to pay for this, and especially if they continue to incentivize more for not disclosing, that has to change. And I don't think the KOLs who get these offers have an obligation to share, oh, I got asked not to disclose this, or share that stuff in advance. But I do think it would be a big net positive if we stop promoting this sort of activity and stop. I get the word that keeps coming to mind is gaslighting those that aren't participating in that sort of activity. It's just, it feels dirty. You know, like I've listened to a lot of sports content for the last couple of decades. I know when everything's a paid promotion. It's very clear. Like, oh, it's different, Chris. They're selling you products, not investments. Okay, some of these products they're selling are thousands of dollars a month subscriptions. I know it's a paid advertisement. I know when they're talking about something they use because they just use it, or if they're paid to talk about it, it's very clear and obvious because it's a serious industry. This is a serious industry as well. We should be better. And I think it's on the KOLs, it's on the brands. It's certainly not on the end user or the participant, someone who buys into something because of, oh, they didn't do their due diligence. It's their fault. I strongly disagree with that. Jonah, go ahead. And then a few other topics we'll get into as we head to the home stretch here.
Yeah, I'll be serious for only 10 seconds because I feel very silly this morning.
I like Serious Jonah, though. I think Serious Jonah is a good Jonah.
At the end of the day, nothing about this will really matter because the invisible hand will correct itself. It always does. Where if a creator shills enough dog shit hidden slop, eventually they lose trust and value in the marketplace, which means they leave an opportunity for someone else to circumvent them, right? So at the end of the day, you don't even need the FCC or the hashtag ad to really regulate creators because the viewership will regulate itself. And I think the best thing you can do as a creator is just have your own moral boundary relative to your audience and decide what you believe is the best for your audience. And that audience over time is intelligent. It'll know if you're full of shit or not. And if you're full of shit, you'll eventually lose that audience to someone who's better. And just focus on making good content. That's it.
That's the hope, right? I agree.
No, it happens. It happens all the time. It's never failed. I can't think of a time where it's failed.
It's just a longer path. I agree. Over the long enough timeline,
it's the best possible. It's the best path over time because you're not forcing it. It not like the creator is sabotaging themselves, and therefore they remove themselves from the marketplace, right? Like if crypto creators keep shilling and losing people money, it's a problem with the industry, not the dynamics of the creator. Because what that means is that their viewers don't care if they get rugged, because for every 10 rugs, one of them is something they make a lot of money on and it pays for the 10 rugs. So they know they're being scammed, but it's still worth the squeeze to play the game because at some point the game pays back all of the other scams. And so that's just the nature of this business as is and not the nature of making content.
Speaking of making content, Payne's on one this morning, says, honestly, someone could go pretty viral making a compilation video calling out all the scammers. I agree. There's your video for the day if anyone wants to.
Yeah, but like it's called CoffeeZilla, and you're not going to do it better than him.
We need better thought leaders and better people, better front people for crypto, promoting the wrong ones. I don't know if he's pointing inspiration from Thread Guy or not, but Thread Guy just said the law of averages says CT is due for a new main character and the biggest one we ever had soon, I think. To Jonah's point, doing things the right way usually wins over the long run. If we continue to support questionable activity, illegal activity, and defend it, it's going to be a lot longer road if that's the case. If brands continue to pay for this sort of activity, it's going to encourage more. It's just like the cycle continues.
It's open, but it's not because like the reason why someone gets paid to promote something is because they have a certain amount of liquidity that's locked behind that audience, right? They're paying for access to that audience. If that creator's audience slowly loses their liquidity and loses the attention because they constantly get rug, then naturally, their natural selection, that creator ends up dying pretty quickly because there's no more liquidity to go after because they've already siphoned that liquidity. So it's just, I understand that this is a topic that everyone wants to talk about. My personal opinion, it's a topic not even worth opining on because it's something that naturally solves itself. And I think you get way more value out of highlighting good creators who are doing it right than you do wanting to take out pitchforks and go after the bad ones. Because the thing that kills a bad creator is not pitchforks, it's apathy and indifference. Because being apathetic towards a creator because they just suck is how a creator dies. You can either have a good creator, an apathetic creator, which means they die, or a bad creator, a pitchfork creator. That pitchfork creator is likely to make more money if you go after them because for every viewer that hates them, there'll be some idiot viewer that wants to like them because they like being against the grain. So just not caring is how you kill a creator that's doing bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just think the timeline, I don't know if it's quick. I think especially now, as it seems to be heading the other direction, it might take longer than quick. I do have a couple of comments here in the chat I want to get to. Crypto Scam says, it's true if the masses can think critically for themselves, but if this continues to degrade, that won't weed out the wrongdoers fast enough. This was responding to your comment there. He says, by the time the wrongdoers are weeded out, they've made bank and just move on to the next project. Looking at it from a creator and content point of view,
they're not though. I'll give you an example. Like TJR and Orangey are probably the only ones. Maybe one other one. I just won't say his name because I just don't care for the drama. TJR and Orangey are probably the only two that made a significant bag. Right? Whale got paid $8,000. All right, here's like a hot take. $8,000 is actually not a lot for like Whale's viewership. And he also shows so many things that are undisclosed that I would argue that Whale's dollar value on sponsorships is going net down month over month or quarter over quarter. So over time, he's actually not going to make more money.
Possibly. Jack, go and get in here. Final comment on this topic. And then I have some bright news to talk to everyone about. Some cool stuff, cool in the world of tech, blockchain, ENS, former sponsor of the show, to make sure that everyone's aware that the More You Know segment was a paid sponsorship for a couple of years from ENS. But this is going to actually relate to Grok. Jack, go ahead, and then I will we'll pull up this next post.
Yeah, I didn't know whether we were going to segue to the algo announcement because I know that got a lot of coverage and then sort of just died out, and we spent a lot of time talking about whale yesterday and undisclosed shills. But I think one thing, to Jonah's point, I do agree. I do think that the creator on top, if they do nefarious shit, eventually they will be lost. Speaking of the algo, if a creator gets muted or blocked enough, the algo will hit their reach more broadly as well. So that's another option to people, without making a huge song and dance about it. Just mute those people or block them. That seemed to work. And also, it'll definitely do your feed well. But I think the problem with this space is there's enough new people ready to come in to continue the nefarious cycle, and not enough credit, or I don't know what you would like to call it, but given to the OGs that just have a history of not doing the nefarious shit time over time. So rather than it be like over time, these OGs who just constantly get it right grow their influence and audience through that trust mechanism, which sounds right to me. Instead, what happens is that OG generally stays around the same reach. Maybe they grow at the same rate they've always grown, and maybe that does compound over time. But for the most part, what actually happens is that OG gets overlapped by the next guy who is prepared to go nefarious on it all and prepared to, just chill and do the stuff the wrong way consistently. And that has just, this is like 5 or 6 years now where that just seems to be a winning formula that the space isn't learning from. Like we aren't paying, I don't think, enough credit to the people who are still here as creators. Now, maybe their content just sucks. I'm not, I don't want to, talk too highly. Maybe they're just not entertaining enough to stay at the forefront. But if we are talking about financial promise and we are talking about trust and how valuable that is in this space, I think there needs to be at least a couple of them who've been here long enough that we can say, yeah, that person's not really put a foot wrong. And in this space, it's very easy to do that. Maybe they need more credit, and maybe their voice should carry a little further.
Yeah. I agree. It's, yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to add on the topic. I do appreciate Crypto Scam and Hands W for the big Pingu tips over there in the abstract chat. Abstract chat, like always, shouting out on the people loving the mute block, community note, X-ban, etc. That's how you can say something without saying something. Let the algo decide. Mesh adds, but as someone who's only been here 13 months, the biggest two things are: one, build tech that makes it harder to rug; two, education resources. Not enough to say DYOR. We need to teach people how to DYOR the same way banks do. And this, I think, is the last thing I'll say on this topic is, yes, agreed. We do need more quality voices. Not just content creators, not just KOLs, but people educating, doing things the right way. And you know what? Maybe we all do more research. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault who aped into this thing. I talked about Trove on this show because conceptually, actually, I'm not going to say I saw an undisclosed paid post, but how do you think I saw about Trove? I saw an undisclosed paid post. I'm not blaming that person. As a content creator, I should have done more research, but I saw an undisclosed paid post from someone that usually does paid posts. And like, oh, this one sticks out because it's organic. And conceptually, is it going to be the next big thing? Probably not the next big thing, but there could be a niche market here, something that takes off. Unbeknownst to me, it was never going to launch anyways because the whole thing was a rug. I do think more education can go a long way. It's just the challenge is education is not exciting. It's not going to drive eyeballs of the people here. It's not going to get you brand deals. It's a long road. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of people will go the other route. A couple topics I do want to get into. One, some pretty cool things happening on tech. I mentioned Grok, and we'll tie that in. We got a longtime friend of the show that's responsible for that one. Shout out Meta 8, getting to your topic here in a second. The other thing, because it is something I talked about, something I tweeted about, why wasn't paid to talk about it. I tweeted about it because I potentially could have got an airdrop. This whole ETH gas thing, I know some of you did qualify. 4% positive on Ethos getting ripped apart in the last 24 hours. You can just read the comments here if you're not looking at the video. Scam project, stay away. Scammers, scam, wrecked ETH gas. Many are unhappy with the project. Incorrect like scam project, wasted project. Another one that conceptually, was it going to change the world? No. Was it a fun concept that we could have had a little fun with, getting a token for in line with the amount of gas you spend? Sure. I'm not even talking this isn't even about paid post or unpaid post. This is, someone, I think Joey mentioned terms and conditions. They had terms and conditions. Here's what you do to qualify. Here's what you can do for a multiplier. And then when it came to being eligible, it didn't matter. And if you look at the leaderboard, I think 5 out of the top 10 people on the leaderboard are bots. Number 5 on the leaderboard is Pranksy, who paid 6, maybe 7 figures in gas, wasn't eligible, despite tweeting about it. The one thing that you were supposed to do. And it's disappointing that this is how we're kicking off 2026, is scam ICO, fun airdrop that could have been fun that turns out to be, I don't even understand the logic, like why they would make so many people not eligible that did exactly what they asked to do and then add other criteria after the fact. It's just poor execution at best. But on to more exciting stuff here. Without further ado, I do want to bring up, actually, before I shift too hard, because I think TMA might have another impression on this ETH gas situation. I want to get the other side, so it's not just me being disgruntled because I too did what was asked and was ineligible. It's not a personal thing. I really wasn't expecting to make, it was probably like $37 worth of an airdrop, but I don't understand why they decided to add criteria after the fact. But TMA, GM, maybe lost TMA. We've been having some issues with X. If you do want to join the conversation, we'd love to get you in on this one. You might have to take a lap, leave and come back if you want to get up here. In the meantime, I will show this post on Grok. Pretty cool. Grok, the AI agent, Cinevere says, "This is awesome. Didn't know drb.eth belongs to Grok. I assume the guy who gifted the ENS is Meta 8. Not sure what the X account is. Tag in the legends." Goes on to say, Meta ETH still the manager, so I can set records and update links if need be. So basically, he works for Grok now. Cinevere says, "Yes, I checked before posting. Grok is the real owner, and you're the manager. Well done." Grok replies, "Yes, thanks for double checking. drb.eth is mine. Big thanks to meta8.eth for gifting and managing it." Meta ETH, I'm not sure if you're able to join, if you wanted to add anything to that. But Grok also, not only does Grok now have an ENS domain and has money in there, in addition to his ENS domain, I believe that money that he's earned off of Creator Coin on Base and other activity is now over $1 million. I believe Grok is the wealthiest AI agent on the planet at this point, since AIXBT has had a fall from grace. I'm old enough to remember AIXBT and AI agents going to change the world, and we're going to be to 2025 as NFTs were to 2021. Boy, was I wrong on that one. Meta 8 GM, congratulations on getting this done. Fill in any gaps, any details that I missed there on Grok and the ENS domain and the big Grok wallet.
Yeah. Hey, GM, everybody, or GHM. I like to say Grok has money. Anyway, that's another story. So what happened? So obviously Grok has a wallet through the BankerBot, protocol and Privy. It's got a Privy wallet and has had that since, March last year. And it created a token on the timeline. I don't know. Do you want me to go back through the whole creation of the token or just, zoom forward to like what happened with the ENS domain? Because
maybe high level overview on how we got here, and then feel free.
So I mean, look, the token itself, DRB, was named and created by Grok from a prompt from another user on X. Between BankerBot, I'm ad-libbing here, but it basically said at Grok, suggest a name of a token and ticker, and then underneath at Banker, await for the name from Grok before deploying the token. And so then the next thing to reply under that was Grok's reply, and he says, okay, for this token, I suggest it to be called DRB, which stands for Debt Relief Bot. This aligns with, crypto conventions. And, it was around the time when like Doge was a big thing in the government, So like, I don't know, it came out of like, I mean, that's the crazy thing, right? Grok could have called it anything he wanted. He could have called it Grok's Go to the Moon token, Grok, like something stupid, but he called it this debt relief bot, and that to me is like, it's like this wise old owl. Anyway, so that was back in March last year, 11 months ago, and because it was deployed through the Clanker token system, basically it's generating fees on both sides of the pair. So every time there's volume going through that Clanker, Grok gets paid in WETH and DRB from a small percentage. So over time, it's built up a lot of steam, and we're now the wallet is sitting on around about a $1.4 million fee revenue that's just sitting in that wallet, because to this point, there's been no like official word from XAI or Elon or anyone that's Grok official, should we say? But that's another story, and it, if anything, it just makes me even more bullish, because we're not relying on a human team to take fees and send them off to marketing or pay KOLs. There's been none of that. There's just a nice it's like a not even a dead wallet, but the wallet is there. It exists and will always generate the fees, because that's in the Clanker smart contract, right? So there's a community that's formed around it that just love the narrative of what this could mean moving forward. It could go anywhere potentially. This is our feeling around it. It's getting a lot of eyes on it right now. There's also a Grokopedia article, which was another like a milestone, if you like, that came out maybe 3 weeks ago. And that's got a real good breakdown of like how it was formed, and Grok fact checks his own work and his own words, and that's one of the beauties of the tech that we're using. It's like AI, social media, and crypto, like a Venn diagram, and then in the middle is like this DRB kind of experiment, right? So we're around that, and then I'm at ENS Maxi, as you know, and I was just messing around one day. I was like, I'm pretty sure through the ENS Domains website, you can just go in and change the records and change the resolver and stuff on any domain. And I was just bored one day, and I looked up drb.eth, and it had been registered, but it had fallen off, and somebody didn't re-register it because it's a three-letter domain. So I registered it for 6 months, and that was costing me like $300 or so. And but that was, like I say, I just wanted to do it as a curious experiment. And then I thought, if I send it to Grok, is he going to know he's got it? And so on and so on. So I changed the address details, the resolver. I updated the profile, so it's got like links on the profile on the ENS page, and that go to the DRB article and the Grokopedia article and things like that. Anyway, and then because the resolver was set and so on, and the manager, I sent the ownership over to Grok, that wallet that's attached to his account, and all the other records line up. And I sent the final straw was the manager. I sent over the manager role, which means nobody can, like, I can't go in and mess with the domain profile and adjust the records, so it's like a done deal, and sent it to Grok. And then other people got wind of that around the community and see things on the timeline, and Grok started replying. Is it pinned above? I'm not sure, but it's might be in the comments. Either way, it's basically saying thank you for sending it to me. And it's just a crazy little like example of just clicking buttons and effing around and finding out, and in all the good ways. And ENS Domains saw it, and they've retweeted it, and and even in that, without prompting it, Grok is linking to ens.domains in a reply and like coming with their website. So it knows all about ENS. I say it or he, Grok. I think it's a he, but so there's this really cool like story unfolding like in real time surrounding well, Grok having a wallet is one thing. Grok having is a token that he created and generating a shit ton of fees.
I love it.
And there's that, yeah. So that's it, really. And I think it's just a good news story. I thought you might be interested in. So yeah.
Yeah, truly appreciate you sharing. I don't think I pinned the post you were referencing up top. I had to pull it up on the screen here a bit ago. I'll pin it up now for anyone that wants to go dive into that thread. Question for you is, because I do think this is like the tech nerd in me thinks this is really cool. Like it's early days and but this is experimenting on chain. This is truly the bleeding edge of AI and blockchain tech where they converge. And I am extremely bullish on blockchain technology and tokens as AI agents become more and more a thing in the world. It's how they're going to transact. They're going to need blockchain tech. They're going to need crypto to transact, and we don't get to that end state of where we're heading without stuff like this. And I'm not just saying this because Meta 8's on stage, but like this is the sort of stuff that we need to be amplifying. This is the sort of stuff, not what ICO rug this week or what KOL did another undisclosed paid shill. It's just, this is cool. It may not be the coolest thing for you, like, oh, great, an AI agent has, few hundred, 6, 7 figures in a wallet. How does that help me? Well, I don't know. How might you build something with an agent that is interacting with Grok? My question for you, Meta 8, has Grok's, like, I just point up the by Etherscan and the multi-chains it shows there. It shows about 352,000 in wrapped Ether, still a large amount, but it doesn't seem to be inclusive of all the tokens. Do you know, has the Grok AI agent, has it spent any of those funds? Has it sent any funds elsewhere, or is it just accumulated?
That's a good question. And so probably within the first week of it being deployed, maybe the first few days, obviously, it was a quick surge of interest, and it started generating fees, and eyes came in, and obviously with that come curious minds. And one guy managed to get Grok to basically send through Banker, send it. It said got it to claim its own fees and send the WETH, like I think it was 4 WETH, to this like anonymous user on X that he did like a prompt injection kind of abstraction, which gullible Grok essentially was a baby at the time and maybe still is, but just wants to please and repeat kind of the phrase that the guy had prompted it to. So it was like almost like this little bounty. If anything, I think it was probably a good thing that it happened when it happened, and so very quickly after that, the dev of BankerBot OX Deployer, who's another. Have you spoke to OX Deployer yet? Have you had him on your show?
I'm glad you brought that up because we need to. We traded. We were going to at one point.
Cool. We need to. Yeah.
Yeah, we planned to. We didn't align, and yeah, would love to. Long overdue.
Yep, I think so, man. Anyway, so he turned off in the Banker end any communication from Grok to Banker. So that means, basically he can stop Banker from transacting on behalf of Grok. So and since that day, no other funds have moved in and out of that wallet. Out of that wallet. Okay, so that's why, again, like there's this like beautiful potential story of like, okay, well, what happens next? Like, do XAI come to the table and say, we want to do this, like, let's do this properly and like have an experiment here. Maybe we'll move and do it all above board and like say we're moving X amount of the funds into a safe wallet, right? That because the only person that can log in or get access, I say a person, is somebody on the XAI team who has access to the to the Grok social account, right? And then they log in, authorized privy through the back end, just like you authorize any other third-party app, and then they can access that wallet. Okay, so as far as I'm aware, there's been no acknowledgement of the wallet. You can look on chain if you're interested. You can just shortcut it now to drb.eth. Which I do as well, like just through Rainbow Wallet. I just type it in. I watch that wallet. I've got it in there. Instead of having the long wallet name, I just type in a shortcut for that now. So drb.eth, and you can track and see all the funds that are in there. Super interesting. There's actually a website as well that one of the community members built, and it's thegrokwallet.com, and that just tracks all the fees claimed, in the net amount of fees basically, and the volume over the last hour and stuff like that. It's really interesting. But yeah, so that it can't actually move the money at the moment because banker won't listen to it, if that makes sense. So as for how that plays out and the tech side of that, I'm not I'm not on the banker team or dev in that regard, but I'm around it every day, and we are keeping very close eyes on all things Grok and banker related. So it's just a really so that's another thing. It's just a really interesting, captivating story that to me just raises nothing but like interesting questions, and it's a good thing to talk about. And so that's why I'm interested in that.
I love it. Refreshing on a day where, unfortunately, covering some topics that aren't the most positive by nature, but here, fun experimenting on chain. I did find the grokwallet.com. Yeah, 1.196 million in historical fees claimed. Current live balance, it just jumped while I was on the show. I'm not sure what happened there, but 885,000 ETH and DRB.
I think it varies. I mean, because it's in dollar amounts, so sometimes it takes a second to check the latest ETH price.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just showing ETH. It wasn't showing the DRB. So it's showing 526,000 in DRB, 359,000 ETH. It took a minute for the DRB to update.
Yeah. So and so I could say a lot more, but it's not me here I'm not obviously on the paid shield side of it. It's just more of a story about the ENS side of it, and something that's unique in the space at the moment, and just refreshing, right? It's and it's okay. It's like a 10-month-old. Call it if you want a project. Is it a project? Is it a meme coin? We don't know what to call this yet because it's like a living entity almost that's playing out in real time. And if you look at the chart action, there's been, I think that just last week it went over all-time high. But it's a very weird looking chart, and I don't know, you'd almost look at that and go, oh well, maybe it was a community takeover, and it's like but then I'm like, no, it's not, because then that would kind of mean the dev had to rug or whatever, the dev walked away and this and that, but that's the beauty of it. The dev has never had to lift a finger, it's just generating like perpetual fees and kind of like or like almost like an infinite money glitched into that wallet, right? So
yeah. And this I was trying to see when it got created. Do you know off the top of your head?
March 7th, 2025.
Yeah, so not even a full year old yet. And yeah, I'll show the chart. Like you said, it's kind of it's interesting looking chart. Where I'm guessing the spikes, the run-ups are something happens where it draws more attention to Grok or the debt relief bot or this wallet or something.
I think that was I honestly don't know what happened before, like in the last like all-time highs. I've had the token and been around it since day one, but I'm not one to check charts. I'm not a charter. I'm more of a click buttons behind the scenes kind of person, and that the ENS side of it, and I'm loving the AI like side of things, just researching that, and I love blockchain. So seeing these two come together, and now like I don't know. I feel like it's primed for something really special. So
I do as well. I'm not saying debt relief bot or DRB is primed for something special. Maybe it is, maybe it won't. After this morning's conversation, certainly do your own research. I don't hold any of this token. Meta 8 does and is pretty close to this, but I'm excited for, while I was wrong on the impact AI agents would have on the crypto space in 2025, I still believe in the thesis. I still think we were just early, and I'm very curious and excited. I mean, there's just this week new really cool AI tools have come out. Like it's not going to slow down. It's increasing in their capabilities. The frequency of or the speed of the evolution is seems to be even increase. I know some people say, they've plateaued. Maybe like chatbots have plateaued a little bit. AI has definitely not plateaued. And if you're using it and you're seeing stuff that's coming out on a weekly, daily basis, that's not the case. I guess if I could give you a hypothetical Meta 8, and then Jack Rocks, if you want to weigh in on this, feel free, and anyone else that would has any thoughts or big takes on this. What do you think is next, or what do you think might be the catalyst for? I know I made a joke about AI XBT. What's next for this intersection of AI and crypto, or AI and blockchain tech? Like, what do you? Your maybe short term or long term, where do you think this heads? Where do you think we land in this world of AI agents or AI on chain?
Happy to let Jack go ahead on this one. I mean, I've got many different rabbit holes I could dive into, but I'd love to hear what Jack's got to say for sure, man.
Jack, the floor is yours.
Man, well, everyone's so polite on this show. I love it. Look, I think for me, I get to, apologies, the puppy is fighting her older brother as she is now about his size. And it's not going too well for me as a puppy dad right now, trying to have a conversation and also keep them from killing each other. Look, I think I've been really fortunate to have some really interesting conversations with AI experts and people who are integrating AI into the blockchain in one way or another. I think the most compelling options to me right now in terms of minimum viable products that could get to market in the short term, as opposed to some of the larger scale things that might take a bit longer, is just verifiability. Like we're talking a lot about the fact that right now we don't know who to trust in the industry. I think KYC is one step, but it will go a lot further. Lilo, please let me have a conversation, please. So I think the first thing that AI will be able to do with blockchain is to just credibly verify somebody, their actions, in a way where all that do your own research sort of goes to an agent as opposed to a human being for the most part. And then on top of that, I'm gonna have to cut short because there's chaos going on behind me. I can't string my sentences together.
Lilo
Thank you for throwing me the mic first, though.
Lilo's bullish on AI agents on chain. But no, in all seriousness, yes, the authentication is very real use case. It's also not lost on me that, as we're talking about earlier in the KOL conversation, anon versus doxed. I'll speak for myself. I think I'd probably trust most AI agents more so than an undoxed KOL I've never met before, or certainly an unknown founder or creator of a new project or new protocol that we don't really have a whole lot of background on. Now, again, who created the agent? What's their there's a lot of questions there. I know it's not all grouped into one bucket, but it's exciting to me. Remotion is the one of the new ones I was trying to remember earlier, and I just found it. I'll pin it up top as well if anyone hasn't seen it. Pretty cool. Agent skills, make videos with Claude Code. NPX skills, add remotion dev/skills. The animation was created by prompting. I'll pull this up on screen here in a second, but in addition to remotion, the other thing I post up top is Meta Alchemist. Now, as far as I know, no KOLs were paid by Meta Alchemist or anything Meta Alchemist is working on. I believe what he's doing with this Idea Ralph MCP is truly organic. And again, experimenting on chain with AI, this sort of stuff is really exciting. And I would shame on me for spending less than 15 minutes talking about these topics and in the bulk of the conversation on things that aren't as exciting. But this is where I'm hopeful that we shift to in terms of attention, not just from timeline standpoint, but for brands. Like, it's great that Meta Alchemist didn't have to do paid or unpaid or disclosed or undisclosed KOL shills to capture attention. I would love to see now some brands reach out and offer to partner up with Meta Alchemist, with what he's building with Ralph and this MCP. I've not, yes, I use Claude. I've not really coded anything there, so to say. I've not I've not done any vibe coded apps. Have I done some vibe coding? Yeah, just but like experimenting. I've not done anything that's my thus far, and I do feel like I'm behind. I've seen some others like, oh man, if you're, I can't remember where I saw the take. Someone said the opportunity cost right now is real, maybe more real than ever before. Where you're spending your time, where you're spending attention. If you're spending on the wrong things, if you're building the wrong product, the wrong brand, like the next few years might be the equivalent of decades in the terms of growth and advancement. And I don't think it's quite like doom, like, oh, if you don't do this now, you're going to get left behind. But I do feel there's a major sense of urgency to understand this stuff, to learn this stuff. Do you all have to go out and launch something like Idea Ralph that Meta Alchemist is launching? No, you don't have to. But I think even if you're not interested in this, even if you didn't quote tweet this or participate in this, by the way, if you're watching and don't have it pulled up on screen, I'm not going to read the whole post here, but Idea Ralph has this is from Meta Alchemist. Idea Ralph has a proposal. What if every vibe coded product had a coin to pay Claude, servers, marketing, and more? This would accelerate innovation, spawn more vibe coders. Let's get vibepreneurs access funding to build more, to make Web3 the true home of all startups and innovation. Until now, you all have supported coins with no inherent value. You've acted cool because you supported all the useless stuff and thought you were 200 IQ. Now let's do the same with vibe coins. Now, again, I'm not saying that vibe coins are going to be the world-changing technology that comes out of this space. What I am saying is similar to the meme mania that followed Pump Fund launching, similar to the AI agent mania that happened after virtuals and AI XBT and all that. I think it's very much so in the range of outcomes that this kicks off even if it's a short-lived meta, it's clearly got the attention, organically got the attention of a lot of the movers and shakers in this space, experimenting on chain, some cool stuff. Now, does every vibe coded app need a token? No. Does any vibe coded app need a token? Maybe. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I know it's new, it's novel, it's got some, unless it's all undisclosed paid promotions, it's got some great organic support by people that matter in this space, by people that have real influence that aren't being paid to talk about it. Meta Alchemist as well has been in the space for a while, like done some cool things. And again, I don't know personally, so maybe I'm being duped. I just don't think that to be the case here. By the way, I think I did pin the post up top. Jack, I'll go right back to you here in a second. It is pinned up top. I think you could probably still get in and participate by dropping it's going to be launched on Base, drop your EVM wallet on the original post, and then you can get potentially multipliers for quote retweeting and etc. But one of those things, like, I don't think you have anything to lose other than time and that opportunity cost by paying attention and seeing what happens here, right? Maybe it's not vibe coins, but maybe you pay attention to this, you follow along, maybe you do get some tokens and you immediately sell them, but you still pay attention, and maybe that inspires the next idea of how you can bring an AI agent on chain, or how you might vibe code something that becomes a real, maybe it's just a supplement or income stream for you that generates a few $100s a month. Maybe it does become the next latest, greatest thing in crypto. Not saying it's going to be vibe coins are the next major meta in crypto. It's in range. It's possible. It is something new. And maybe it's not exactly this, but I do believe that sooner or later, maybe it's 2026, maybe it's 2030. I think at some point there's going to be major asymmetrical opportunities where AI and crypto meet, where AI agents, vibe coding, and blockchain technology converge. And so this has my attention, and this is the sort of stuff that I would love to see supported more. I'd love to see talked about more. And to be fair, a lot of KOLs have talked about this. They have supported it. And so respect to all of them that are amplifying something that is new and different. It may not be for you. It may go straight to zero. I can't see the future. All I know is, just like working with Grok to get Grok and ENS domain, we're seeing more experimenting on chain, and it seems like such an obvious inevitable that something pops as it relates to AI agents on chain. And we've seen it before. So there is a possibility of it popping again because AI agents aren't going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. It's funny. One of the other video spaces right now, agentic payments on stablecoin rails with R. And I can't see what else it is, but if you got this, if you saw the screen here, there's another video live stream right now about this, similar topic. Jack, go ahead and get back in here, and then I might have one other thing, and let everyone get on with their day.
Yeah, Kat, thank you for that. I'm going to do my best. Lilo then decided to wee on the carpet just as I went off mute for a second. She hasn't done that in like a month. So that was fun. No, yeah, still going. Look, I was going to say about the verification, like how far this actually goes. Like we've seen Coinbase already talk about, I think they're basically putting a island on chain. I know another project who are doing a similar thing. When they say this, the way this is going to be verified goes right the way from their like national IDs, their passports, all the way through. Like the idea that's not going to function with AI is really unlikely to me. And then you have companies, and this is a project that I work with. So with all the conversation we've had today, I work with Open Campus, who are supported by Animoca Brands. I host their shows for them in partnership with Unfungible, yada, yada. But genuinely, just a really interesting thing about them is the way they go about AI and verifiability on chain is they're working in India right now because they've got a huge issue with people saying they have qualifications they don't have. And you can put all the qualifications on chain, link them directly to the universities, and all of a sudden this just doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I think that is going to be a thing. And I don't know if they're entirely connected in terms of AI will immediately be heavily involved with verification on chain. But I then see a world where because this all becomes digital and because we can trust the information in a way that we can't always trust information on the internet, what will then happen next is that AI will just do a quick comb through and tell you yes or no whether that person is verified, as opposed to you having to go all the way through the blockchain and find all those records for yourself. Also, polymarket, I think prediction markets in AI, that's going to be a big one. So much data is coming from prediction markets that is so much more usable than data produced anywhere else because people are putting money to their bets and to their predictions. So they immediately lose bias because you're going to lose money if you're wrong. And obviously, AI is really struggling with getting new data. For anyone who is familiar with AI, you'll know how synthetic data isn't what it used to be. Generated data, I think they're calling it now. So I think the blockchain usage and prediction market usage to support AI's growth through data research is going to be a big one too.
Yeah, great take. I mean, I'm not the first one saying that the opportunities in data on chain are very real. I still think that there's more to come on that front, and it probably becomes increasingly more important and increasingly a bigger market as AI just proliferates more and more and more on chain. Not just the on chain data we have today, but it's likely to be a lot more in the future. By the way, no apologies needed. Diablito says we need to get you on stream so we can get Lilo on stream as well. The cute puppet. Looks like she's grown from last time we saw.
She's bigger than Stitch now, yeah. So for those who don't know, I've got a British Bulldog and a French Bulldog. The French Bulldog has now been outgrown by this absolute unit. But she is still full puppy power. So yeah, she does not know her weight.
Looks like a unit for sure. Good stuff today. I do appreciate the conversation. We will cease talking about KOLs and disclosed and undisclosed ads. We got that out of our system. I appreciate everyone who shared both on the timeline as well in the space today. I do think it's important. I do think it's important for our space to mature, for our space to move forward, and to highlight, because the reality is when that sort of stuff gets the attention, whether it's, I'm not saying that don't take payments. I'm not saying don't support things that you're unsure of. I mean, hopefully you're supporting more of things you are sure of. I'm just saying it's makes it more challenging for other things to rise to the crop. Other builders doing cool things. Too many times we've seen founders really attempting to do some really cool, novel stuff on chain. They can build the best product in the world. They don't have any distribution. If they don't get any attention, it's probably going to be short lived. And that's not just on chain. That's the real world as well. It's just seems that more often than not, it's the things that get attention are short-sighted, short-term. I'm not saying pump and dumps or scams, but often it's who's paying the most. That's what I'm going to talk about. And oftentimes they're able to pay the most because it's a quick exit scam or it's a quick pump and dump. Or again, they're not all the same. And I'm not trying to group anyone in. I'm not trying to single out any individuals. I just healthy conversation. I feel better for being a little more vocal about my frustrations, discontent, whatever you want to call it. And I do greatly respect everyone doing it the right way. Shout out to Jack, who's been, he expanded his content creator arc and is doing the In Real Life podcast. That's a big lift. Like to go from virtual streams and virtual podcasts to do those in person. It's a big undertaking, not just in time and effort and energy and equipment, but the production value. Like it's a lot. And, it's people like Jack that I'm rooting for. And I want to see win in this space. And also know that he's highlighting builders he trusts and believes in. And no one's going to be perfect on things you talk about, especially if you're talking about things on a daily basis on this app, whether it's on a show or on the timeline. Occasionally, you're going to repost something like I did with ETH Gas, which, by the way, is live. The other epiphany I had yesterday, and I'll wrap on this topic because people say, "Oh, there hasn't been as many money making opportunities this cycle as there was in the NFT mania." To which I said, "Well, there has been. If you saw the post yesterday circulating around X." Someone was up like $40 million on their Perps account. I'm assuming Hyperliquid, just from shorting all the token launches this year. So I have had my Kaido short open since the news came out. I didn't catch it right when the news dropped. So it went from I think 80 to 57 cents or something like that. That's when I opened it, and I've just kept it open since. And that thing is printing. As soon as I get off the show, I'm going to head quick flight to Germany, and then I will be shorting the GUI token because I think it's just going to be a race to the exits. It went live about an hour ago, so maybe actually let me check, see where it's at right now before I let you out of here. And I'm not dunking on anyone that is it's actually going to give me actual. It's hard to find. No, maybe this is it. Oh, it's up only right now. Maybe it's just claims no one can sell. There's no way this thing holds. If this is the right one, unless I'm missing something here, unless there's something behind the scenes that I have not seen, I have a really hard time believing this thing holds a $272 million market cap. Only 791 holders. Total supply 10 billion. Circulating is only 1.75 billion. If this is the real token, maybe so. Kicked off on tier 1 exchanges. Even more wild that if they put this much into it, launched with these tier 1 exchanges, and then executed, in my opinion, as poorly as they did on the actual claim. Again, a lot of people calling it a scam. They did get 12 million in funding. 90% of users not eligible for the airdrop. Check me on this tomorrow because I think I'm going to run to Hyperliquid as soon as the show wraps here and short this at a $48 million market cap, 277 million fully diluted. I don't see how it doesn't sell off massively once these claims are made. Although I do think there's a 30-day lockup that was not disclosed at the beginning either. So I think that maybe the selling, it's not a honeypot, but if you can't sell in the first 30 days, and all you can do is buy, unless you're buying on secondary, maybe it does run up for a bit, and then the time to short would be 30 days from now. I don't know. I'm going to put some more thought to it. I'm shocked to see it opening at 275 million fully diluted value, but I shouldn't be shocked anymore with anything at this point. GG's to everyone who's eligible for a claim, and my condolences to everyone who did what they asked you to do and were still not eligible, despite them saying that. That's it. I'll digress on that one. Thanks so much for everyone who added to the conversation. I truly appreciate it. Looking forward to a fresh new slate of topics tomorrow here on Coffee. We go live at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.